Hey y'all, welcome to the Clock Tower. I'm Colton, here with Brandon. Round 2 of the Weiss Schwarz Invitationals rolls on. We had 3 more games yesterday, games ongoing as we speak in the early hours of Saturday morning. Brandon, on a phone today because thunderstorms knocked out his power.
Yeah, that is right. Living life before electricity, or as much as possible, is going to be real fun today.
Well, the good news is you don't need to plug in cardboard, so we are still rolling here. So, game 1 yesterday was Matthew and his Goblin Slayer Priestess build versus Adrian's Revue Starlight deck. Revue Starlight took this one 2-0. Really, just an awful matchup for Goblin Slayer because it essentially negates the Soul Wall. Revue Starlight's yellow endgame involves on play wind, and also the combo gives everything in the front row essentially double shot. So Starlight's able to wind away the Soul Wall for the most part, and whenever it doesn't wind away, it's still going to land a lot of shot damage. Really, really tough matchup for Priestess already. And it made matters worse that Matt got locked at level 1. So Adrian was able to get his early plays into the field. The deck is a Soul Rush deck that loves to push for damage. It's really hard for Priestess to recover in this matchup. Game 2 is a little bit different. Adrian pushed Matthew into his early plays, but wasn't even able to get his combo off as he couldn't get the Priestess Climax into hand. And again, Adrian closing. Really straightforward. Again, just an awful matchup for Goblin Slayer. But I think that the overwhelming testimony of this tournament is that there are just too many ways to get around the Goblin Slayer Soul Wall for the Priestess build to be really viable at a high level. Second game of the day, we expected that this game might get played. And it got a sudden stream and was over and done within about an hour. Coen and Kit, the KonoSuba mirror match. Coen took this one 2-0. Main difference between these two decks is the fact that Kit's deck runs about a half a dozen yellow cards, including 2 of the early play Darkness and 4 of the Snipe Kazumas. Coen runs the very standard, I believe it's card for card, the exact same as Ryan Wibberley's list.
They're different by one card.
Kit got behind on resources because he had to encore for 3 twice. Once to just maintain some board, and the other to dig climaxes out. He really struggled to have a presence in the field. Coen just played his game, stuck vanilla swings into an open board to close it, and took game 1. Game 2, Kit tried to get his yellows into the field. Coen had left his front row open, so Kit wasn't going to be able to get a clock kick off. He tried to run the Darkness front row, swung into open lanes, got canceled. Coen used Foreclosure to phase out Kit's stock return, which meant that he couldn't use the Darkness recoil effect, and he was able to close with vanilla swings. I don't know if the differences in the decks made the difference in the matchup, per se. It never felt like Kit got the board state that he wanted, whereas Coen was able to primarily manage the game state pretty effectively.
Going to game 3 with Broderick versus Mauricio. This game was the battle of the Soul Negs. We had Fate with Soul Neg Rider versus Goblin Slayer Priestess. Going into this game, it looked very evident that Broderick had a game plan and was able to push that into plan. Broderick was able to push Fate early, getting first game level and a half ahead. So even when Mauricio was able to try field on that turn following, after his turn he was still a level behind. Broderick taking full advantage of this, able to get Priestess out, and then once Priestess was out, keeping Priestess on field to just have that Soul Neg wall. Mauricio realistically was behind all game, going to several different outs of play, triple canceling twice in the end game against Priestess, and still wasn't enough. Took the loss there. Game 2, similar story. Got pushed up, did damage early. I mean, Fate, Mauricio was compressed. He was triple canceling on 1 and 2. Just wasn't able to really respond well to the next Soul Wall. Broderick was also able to get the Goblin Slayer burn at the end, host Priestess to help seal the win. And Mauricio just kept having to burn through resources to try to keep up. And in the end, felled the Goblin Slayer. And I think this is actually Goblin Slayer's first like real win in this tournament up to this point.
It's definitely the first win for the Priestess build. The only other win for the set coming in the mirror match, and that one was even won by the yellow deck. Do you think that the fact that Broderick won this game, in no small part due to the fact that he had a finisher that wasn't Priestess that he could use, do you think that that is significant? Because obviously the Priestess Soul Wall is, useful in a lot of matchups, but its primary issue has really been that it hasn't been a great finisher.
Yeah, and I think that the Priestess Wall was really more of that resource builder in a sense. In a sense, it was just trying to help keep his compression because he was able to respond with cancels on his board. So they stalled out at like 2 and 3 respectively for almost 20 minutes, going back and forth of just canceling back and forth each other's damage. So it was very much more of a stall game as opposed to closing it out. Broderick really wasn't able to close out with Priestess. It was more of the other cards brought in to do the final damages.
It's been a rough tournament for Goblin Slayer, so we'll see how Broderick's list fares going forward. Hasn't been a great tournament for Fate so far. One of its 2 decks now eliminated as we take a look at the main bracket. 5 players confirmed into the round of 8, with Coen's win over Kit. He and Ryan Wibberley are on the same side of the bracket, so we might actually see them playing in the elimination bracket. As we said, Broderick gets the first win for Goblin Slayer. He moves on, still filling up. Not a lot of matchups set up yet, although Kit's loss puts him in an interesting position, as he will play the winner of Lamb and Cameron, so potentially a really good matchup there to keep an eye on at the top of the elimination bracket. Looking ahead at the schedule for the rest of the weekend, Daniel and Nando was the first game played this morning, but we are going to talk about that one on the recap for Saturday because of what time it is in the Eastern time zone and also power outages. So that one will be talked about on tomorrow's video. Brandon and Matt playing KonoSuba and Fate over on Strictly Broken. That game might still be ongoing as you're seeing this. Ian and Patrick will play later today at about 2 o'clock over on Strictly Broken as well. Davida and Mateo tomorrow on Strictly Broken, 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Those are the only games that have a schedule so far. Again, we will update the doobly-doo with any stream announcements. I believe that's it for us today. Thank you for joining us. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and join us again tomorrow. Until then, have a good one.
We'll see you next time.